When my father died, he left me only one thing. It wasn't the house. It wasn't the money. It wasn't the family business. It was an old silver pocket watch. Everyone laughed when the lawyer handed it to me. My younger sister, Rachel, even whispered loud enough for the room to hear. "Congratulations. You inherited a broken clock." I smiled. She had no idea why my father chose me. The watch had never been valuable because of the silver. It was valuable because of the secret hidden inside it. Unfortunately, I didn't discover that secret until 3 months later. Rachel inherited almost everything. The family home, Dad's luxury SUV, his investment accounts, his antique furniture. She couldn't stop bragging. Every family dinner became another opportunity for her to remind me how successful she was. "You always were Dad's disappointment," she once said while sipping expensive wine in the dining room that technically belonged to both of us until probate ended. I ignored her. I had learned long ago that arguing with Rachel only fed her ego. One Saturday, I returned home after a business trip. My apartment door was unlocked. Nothing looked disturbed, except one thing. The display case holding Dad's pocket watch was empty. At first, I thought I had misplaced it. I searched every drawer, every shelf, every closet. Nothing. Someone had stolen it. The police arrived within an hour. They asked the usual questions. Did anyone know its value? Did anyone have a key? Then one officer noticed something strange. There were no signs of forced entry. Whoever entered had used a key. Only 3 people had one. Me. My landlord. I confronted my sister the next morning. She laughed. "You think I'd steal an old watch?" I stared into her eyes. She never blinked. "You always blame me when something goes wrong." Without another word, she slammed the door. 3 days later, my phone rang. The caller introduced himself as Victor Reynolds. He owned one of the largest antique auction houses in the state. "I think someone tried to sell me something that belongs to you." My heart skipped. He described the watch perfectly. I asked how he knew it was mine. His answer shocked me. "Because your father told me years ago that if anyone except you ever tried selling it, I should call you immediately." Apparently, Dad had visited Victor nearly a decade earlier. He never wanted to sell the watch. He simply wanted an expert to authenticate it. Before leaving, he gave Victor a sealed envelope. "If anyone other than my son brings this watch in, open this." Victor had done exactly that. Inside the envelope was my phone number, along with a handwritten note. "Do not buy the watch. Call my son immediately." Victor agreed to help me. Instead of confronting Rachel, he called her. He pretended he was willing to pay $200,000. She accepted within seconds. The meeting was scheduled for Friday afternoon. I waited in the office upstairs while hidden security cameras recorded everything. Rachel walked in smiling. She carried Dad's pocket watch in a velvet pouch. "I knew this old thing was worth something," she said. Victor casually asked, "How did you acquire it?" He didn't hesitate. "My brother gave it to me." Lie number 1. Victor smiled politely. "Do you have proof?" She laughed. "No. He'll never know it's gone." Lie number 2. Then came the third. "Our father wanted me to have everything anyway." That was enough. I walked downstairs. Rachel's smile disappeared instantly. "What are you doing here?" I looked at the watch in her hand. "I came to collect what's mine." She panicked. "You tricked me." Victor calmly pointed toward the cameras. "No, ma'am. You documented your own theft." Rachel tried to leave, but waiting outside were 2 detectives. Victor had already informed them before the meeting began. The watch wasn't valuable enough to trigger a major investigation. But theft, combined with fraud, and lying during an active investigation, that changed everything. At the police station, Rachel insisted I was framing her. Then detectives searched her phone. That single search changed the entire case. They discovered messages discussing the sale of other family heirlooms. Items that had supposedly disappeared after Dad's funeral. Grandmother's diamond earrings. An antique coin collection. Rare military medals. She had been selling them online for months. When police searched her storage unit, they found boxes filled with missing family property. Some pieces had belonged to relatives who had died years earlier. No one had ever suspected Rachel. A week later, the lawyer handling Dad's estate called me. There is something you need to see. He handed me another envelope. Dad had left instructions. The envelope could only be opened if someone attempted to steal the pocket watch. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Hi son, if you're reading this, someone has tried to take the one thing I trusted you to protect. That means they cared more about money than family. Inside the watch is a tiny key. That key opens my safe deposit box. Everything inside belongs to you." My hands trembled. I opened the watch carefully. Hidden beneath the movement, exactly where Dad described, was a tiny brass key. The next morning I visited the bank. The manager unlocked an old safe deposit box that hadn't been opened in over 15 years. Inside sat 3 items. A leather journal. A sealed envelope. A small wooden box. The journal contained my father's memories. Stories about our family. His mistakes. His regrets. He admitted he had spoiled Rachel for too long. He knew it. He simply didn't know how to fix it before it was too late. The envelope contained ownership papers. Not for property. For 20% of a manufacturing company Dad had quietly invested in decades earlier. The shares were now worth over $3 million. No one, not even Rachel, had known they existed. Finally, I opened the wooden box. Inside lay dozens of photographs. Family recipes written by my grandmother. Old letters from my mother before she passed away. Things with no price tag. Things impossible to replace. Suddenly I understood. Dad hadn't been protecting money. He'd been protecting memories. Rachel eventually accepted a plea agreement. She avoided prison. But she lost her inheritance. The court ordered her to repay the estate for every stolen item investigators could trace. She sold the luxury SUV. She sold the house. Almost everything she had once bragged about disappeared. Months later she requested a meeting. We met at a quiet park. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had mocked me for years. I thought Dad loved me more. I looked toward the lake. He loved us both. You just confused love with entitlement. She had no response. Before leaving, she asked one final question. Did Dad know I would steal it? I smiled sadly. No. He simply knew greed has a way of revealing itself. Today the pocket watch sits in a glass case in my office. It still doesn't tell perfect time. The silver is scratched. The chain is worn. To anyone else, it looks ordinary. But every morning I wind it exactly once. Not because I need to know the time. Because it reminds me of something far more valuable. Money can disappear. Property can be sold. Cars rust. Houses crumble. But character always reveals itself. Eventually. My sister thought she stole the most valuable thing my father left behind. He was wrong. The greatest inheritance wasn't hidden inside the watch. It was hidden inside the lesson he spent a lifetime trying to teach us. The person who chases wealth at the cost of family usually loses both.